Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Phyrexial All Will Be One action, and today I have a deck I like to call Gargantuan Green because we are playing tons of lands and going super big in green. Let's see how this deck functions. So basically, we're playing 30 lands. We're trying to get out a bunch of lands with Azusa's Many Journeys, Topiary Stomper, Boseiju reaches Skyward, Wrenn and Seven, and then probably the biggest card in the deck, Cultivator Colossus. This beast, we got a bunch of lands in our hand thanks to Boseiju and Wrenn and Seven. Well, when we play it and it enters the battlefield, we may put a land from our hand onto the battlefield tapped, and if we do, we draw a card and repeat this process so we can chain through a fair amount of lands and just build this giant trampler that we hope to overwhelm our opponent with. We have a backup big creature here with Titan of Industry, just because it's so good, especially in like an aggro meta, the ability to gain life, and just put shield counters is also relevant if you're playing against black and they're going to remove it. Um, really, really nice. And then we give everything trample here with the power of Glorious Sunrise. It gives us many options. One of them, though, get if everything +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn, which is big with Boseiju reaches Skyward because it flips into a creature that's power and toughness equal to the lands we control. We also create these giant tree folk with Wrenn and Seven, so that is also very nice. Now, the new card we're playing in this deck is Green Sun's Twilight. This card super nice because we get to pay X and a green, and it says real top X +1 cards of your library, and choose a creature or land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand, and the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. Now, if we pay more than 5, which we're hoping to do, we instead get to put those chosen cards onto the battlefield, or into our hand, uh, instead. So this can help us fill out oh, we actually need something onto the battlefield. Well, Green Sun's Twilight can help us find that Cultivator Colossus, that Titan of Industry, or potentially just a Topiary Stomper. Also, we can just search up a land, I guess. But yeah, let's go ahead and see how we can do with this deck. If you're looking for more Phyrexia All Will Be One action, make sure to subscribe because I have quite a few more decks brewed that I've actually yet to record about. They're perhaps a bit more silly and jank, but I would say this deck is pretty jank because we're going straight for the lands. The only thing we care about, lands. Lands and lands. Opponents can beat on us as long as they want, but we're just gonna hopefully outramp them here. We have enough lands to get our Azusa. Well, we can use our Azusa. Azusa's Many Journey, amazing in this deck because we have so many lands. We can basically guarantee that we always get full value out of this card, where we get to play an additional land. If you draw this card late game, sometimes it's not useful, but in this deck, most of the time, you're going to be able to be playing that extra land. Alright, what is the right move here? We can play Topiary Stomper and play a land, and that could set us up for, if we draw a land this turn or next turn, we're in position to Green Sun's Twilight for the top 5 cards of our library, but that might just completely miss. So maybe we just go Boseiju's this next turn. Boseiju reaches Skyward and draw into some lands, or put some lands in our hand. Boseiju works really well with Cultivator Colossus because it puts lands into our hand. Trying to think about what's the best move here. We have Topiary Stomper or Boseiju here. We'll get Boseiju ticking because it flips over into a massive creature. And then we can get our Topiary Stomper potentially going. Our opponent might be having a negate in hand or make disappear. In that case, we are probably donezo. I will say I did not include the Tyrannix Rex in this deck because, well, I tried including it in this deck, and it just didn't seem to perform. We really need Cultivator Colossus in this deck because we're all about lands. Which is nice because they work well, like the whole like ramp strategy works well with Green Sun's Twilight, but opponent had a make disappear. Do you have another make disappear? I doubt you're gonna full counter this. Unless you have a Essence Scatter, which is a creature counter spell. Or Urza's rebuff? Do they have full mana? I didn't see that they had full mana. Alright, well, this is one of the games where it would have been really nice to have the Tyrannix Rex. Well, not like we'd be able to cast it, but it would have been nice to have it because our opponent spamming counterspells. I hope they get stomped over by a bunch of red decks. I hate counterspells. Alright, show me your 50th counterspell. Come on. Where is it? Opponent does not counter the Topiary Stomper. Kinda strange. Seems like they have an instant. They're probably just playing a draw spell or a bounce spell. I think they're probably like a Ronin's Vortex deck. Or they trying to think of how you enable Surge Engine as your only win con. Impulse. Maybe they're not a Surge Engine deck. They're a Haughty Djinn Surge Engine deck. In that case, my bad. Man, let me know what you guys think about Green's position in Standard right now. Because it just... This deck is probably not a good representation of it because this deck is a huge gamble. Bit of a huge gamble. Alright, our opponent will definitely counter this, but we can dream. We can dream. We can dream. We can dream. Yep, make disappear, and I'm gonna make disappear myself after this game. My goodness. Oi, oi. I love blue. Yep, Haughty Djinn, what'd you think of that? Oh, and Tolarian Tear. My bad. It's almost like they just dropped a Tolarian Tear for like 2 mana. It's almost like blue has better creatures than green. A 1-drop has Ward 2 and is a 5/5. Thanks. No, I wanted to play this. If I played that one, we would have actually been toast. Doesn't really matter here because our opponent's going to counter the spell and we're not going to gain life and we're not going to be able to block anything and we're going to die. Maybe I'm wrong. Gain 5 life. Destroy target artifact or enchantment? Sounds good to me. Okay. Yep. Titan of Industry, demonstrating why it is the best card in green. I don't care about the Tyrannix Rex. It has disappointed me. No, I like made a. I tried to include Tyrannix Rex in this deck, and it just doesn't fit in this particular deck. You can probably fit it in like more of like a ramp deck or something like that. But this deck is not the deck for it. Our opponent, do they have a counterspell? We'll just Cultivator Colossus here and see what's up. Opponent thankfully doesn't have Shieldred, which completely craps on Cultivator Colossus because it says you draw a card, so you can't really combo off Cultivator Colossus if they're playing Shieldred. Not very lucky here, are we? But that's fine. We don't have anything to block their flyer if we swing in, so we're going to go ahead and hold ourselves back. I got the Surge Engine. We're going to upgrade like twice to make it a 5/4. We need answers. Opponent has one. Do we play the Topiary Stomper, get out of land, play Azusa, and swing in with our Cultivator? That might be a move here. Because if we go Green Sun's Twilight and they counter it, we're kind of in a bad spot. That we can just do the same thing that we were going to do. They might, I don't think they're going to counter Azusa's many journeys is the problem. Well, we'll see. Let's just go ahead and do this. Let's see if we can get our opponent to use up the last card in their hand. Because we would like this Green Sun's Twilight to be able to hit a Titan of Industry so that we can blow up their Surge Engine. Opponent didn't counterspell at all, so I'm very confused. If we swing in, they would have to upgrade the Surge Engine to kill this. To kill our Cultivator Colossus, so it might be worth swinging in because then they would be forced to double block it if they want to get rid of it. I think this is worthwhile trade if they go for it, because we have a bunch more creatures on board and that's 2 for 1. And we have a Green Sun's Twilight, if we can resolve it. If we can resolve it. Keyword. If they do go for the Surge Engine block, then we can start swinging with their Topiary Stompers because they only have the Haughty Djinn, unless they have a Slip Out the Back or Essence Scattered for a Green Sun's Twilight next turn. Not Essence Capture, sorry, not Essence Scatter. The one that gives the counter spell and puts a +1/+1 creature. Opponent doesn't want to lose a bunch of life, but is willing to take the hit. They will be able to draw 3 cards with their Surge Engine here, which is really not ideal. Maybe we should have gambled on the Green Sun's Twilight, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of the idea that they just... not a huge fan of the idea that they... Oh, bye-bye, Haughty Djinn. Why did they not want the Haughty Djinn? I don't know. Do they have a bounce spell for a Titan and then they just swing in and kill us because blue is better than green? If we had that Branches of Boseiju that they countered, we would actually have another creature with reach. Wow, it's really hard to play Haughty Djinn. I love that card. It's almost like it's just a 3 mana like Cultivator Colossus. Because it gives you card advantage because it discounts all your cards, and then it's a freaking massive ass threat because you're going to be putting tons of instant and sorceries in your graveyard. I hate that card. It's so overvalued. Or it's like just so undercosted rather. And like I have to play a Cultivator Colossus to get something that like comes near to that value. Oh god, we're not having a good time here. Oh my god, can we find the freaking Azusa's many journeys or like a 3 cost? Oh, I didn't mean to keep the freaking Wrenn and Seven. Okay, well, this video is probably getting scrapped as well, and I'm just gonna give up on green, or at least this deck archetype. You can see that like this particular deck, I made some changes to it with the Phyrexia All Will Be One cards. We do have like a 60% win rate over like 50 plus games, but I think it's shit at this point. I think the meta's maybe shifted from when I used to play this. Or maybe I played this deck in like, I don't know. This deck is a bit hit or miss in some regards, right? So there is going to be high variance because we're just relying on getting up to big threats. So there is going to be really high variance, but still miserable. Alright, we probably take up Wrenn and Seven if we play it. And hopefully hit 4 lands so we can Cultivator Colossus the next turn. Opponent here doing better things. We're gonna probably Chaotic Transformation into a Tyrannix Rex and blow our face open. Because, yeah, I was gonna say Tyrannix Rex I think is better in like Gruul, like Chaotic Transformation decks because of Because you have the chance to get out on turn 4, or like a better like rampy deck, or you have the chance. I have 30 lands in this deck. Ow. Hmm. Yeah, one of the decks I hope to make is like a green proliferate deck, where you play a bunch of like green creatures. You have well, you see the 59% win rate, but you can also see losing, losing here. We'll play like 2 or 3 more games, see how it turns out. But I don't want to play a ton more of these games if they just keep turning into losses. Thank God we found an Azusa's many journeys. How hard was it? But yeah, you need like one of the 3 drops or the Azusa many journeys in your hand. That's about it. Uh, yeah, this is gonna be one of the times where we don't get full value out of this Azusa many journeys here. Trying to think of what could we draw into that would be good. Alright, they make us discard Cultivator Colossus, they reanimate it with Gix's command, or not that, the, whatever this stupid card is. What's it called? The Saga. Gix's command is the sorcery. I'm trying not to lose my mind here. We top deck into another Titan, and we're playing against discard. Maybe the matchmakers changed and said, you know what? Eat turd. Face these things. I mean, we can pay 2 into Green Sun's Twilight to find a land if we want to go that route. Which honestly, I'm thinking we might at this point because it's not like we're going to find anything else in this crappy deck. Well, we could get the Topiary Stomper, which is probably more worthwhile, but we get a land here, which honestly is better. We can play it this turn, and if we top deck another land next turn, we can play it. Well, actually, I guess this is about the exact same spot. We lose our entire board as well as 2 life. They draw into another Invoke Despair, and they cast it next turn, and we lose the game. That's my prediction.
My ways are not for the weak.
Cast the Duress, you won't. You won't. You won't.
Dire times call for dire tactics.
That's what I thought. Now we Invoke Despair. Oh, we're holding the Invoke Despair until we play the Titan, maybe. So because they don't have good removal, and then all they do is Invoke Despair. Also, just gonna die to Sorin here. Sorin's gonna get to 7 loyalty, and then we die. Does they have any proliferate cards? We're like also kind of dead. All right, Black enchantment removal known as Invoke Despair. Come and get me. I do love me some Invoke Despair. Thanks, wizards. Invoke Despair. Come on. Come on, you definitely have it. That's what I thought. Yeah, there you go. Get that card out of your hand. Feels good, doesn't it? Keep doing it. Ah, I'm sorry. This video is gonna be me molding.
Times call for dire tactics.
Wow, they hit another invoked spare, and guess what we hit? One of our. How many cards do we have in our graveyard? Okay, 6 here, 9. We literally have more lands in our deck than other cards, and we could have hit one of our ramp cards. We could have hit Boseiju, the like freaking enchantment, or we could have hit a Topiary Stomper. But you know what we hit? Another 7 drop. Sure. Oh, would you look at that? We just invoked despair, and then we ultimate Sorin. Oh, and then we reanimate your big spell from your graveyard. All right, well, let's see if we can go lose another game. If we can lose another game, this deck is officially a success. The changes to the deck improved it. No, they didn't. I changed out Prize Fight for the Green Sun Twilight. That's the only change I made. The Prize Fight works well with the Topiary Stomper, the card that we'll probably never see. Go ahead, keep this hand because at least we have something going for us. Though we'll probably just top deck 7 drops for the rest of the game, you know. Holy shit, we actually drew this card. I have 4 of these in my deck, and I haven't seen this card in like 5 games. Actually, that's a lie, but like, of the recordings that I've done for like this deck archetype, I haven't seen that card in like the majority of games. But now it's the only thing we're gonna draw. We're gonna draw a 3rd one. Get a full house. Come on, remove it. Just bounce it. Feel something. Do something. Okay, we'll take this. This will actually work. Holy crap. We actually get to play the game. You discard up to 2 cards. If you do, draw that many cards. Yay. Our opponent, I don't know what they're doing. Like a fair is it dragon deck? Like Vicious Hellraiser? Seems very lame though. You gotta go big with Capricious Hellraiser. Opponent, if that's what you're desperate to do with our, our wait until you meet the rest of our deck. You're gonna love it. Go ahead. Play. We could. Okay, so the options are Green Sun's Twilight here for 5. Probably not hit anything. But yeah, we don't want a Green Sun's Twilight here. Counterspell. So it doesn't matter what we did. It never does. The opponent's just better. Boy. The reflection of Kiki, Yiki, Jiki. Counterspell. Negate. Oh, my bad. Dissipate. I didn't realize we're better than just negate. Alright. Sure. Sure. Sure, Chief. Yes, Captain. Ah. Our opponent can play Capricious Hellraiser at full cost, so we're probably just gonna lose here soon. So they don't have actually anything big to hit with it, but they can immediately copy it with their, we probably should have Green Sun's Twilight here, but I like the Topiary Stomper play for some reason. We want a Green Sun's Twilight probably for more mana. Though, like, we probably would have hit something. I don't know. I've lost faith in any sort of luck. They do actually have removal for it. Brilliant. Opponent probably not playing Capricious Hellraiser, though. A lot of the cards in the graveyard are not great with Capricious Hellraiser. Alright, do we think we got a counterspell on the opponent here? Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Let's see, let's see. Or are they just sad? Good, be sad. Suffer. I enjoy it. Honestly, I could have a shield counter on the Titan of Industry, but they probably have a fair amount of burn, so it doesn't actually matter that much. Because they had like that Fires of Victory, which can do a bunch of damage, because it says deal, draw a card if it was kicked, and then deal damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to the number of cards in your hand. Kind of gross that they were able to, kind of gross that they have the same amount of lands as us. Though our entire deck is lands. It's like kind of nutty, no? Alright, let's see if we can combo with Cultivator Colossus thanks to the fact a lot of lands should still be in our deck. Alright, good luck removing that. Show me what you got, opponent. Show me what you have. You're gonna need another Fires of Victory and like a couple more cards in your hand. Memory Deluge. They need a bounce spell. If they can keep going into bounce spells, we might be in trouble here. Though we could just play Titan if they seem to be switching to bounce spells, because Titan needs an ETB. Though they'll probably just counter it on the way back down, because blue is fun. Our opponent surprisingly not playing like Essence Scatter or something that where like they have like creature counter spells. They instead to be going more for generic counter spells, which is interesting. I guess you need to counter those Invoke Despairs. That's respectable. Finally, we found a way to beat our opponent after they stared at our 10-10 for like a minute. Let's see if we can eke out one more win, and then we'll call this deck still a failure. Yeah, this has been interesting. Don't recommend this deck, I don't think. But hey, when it works, it works. Like, you saw our opponent did not have much of an option there, though. Granted, what was our opponent doing? I don't know. They did remove, like, every single thing we played, and countered, like, several things we did. So, we did alright, all things considered. If they had a Haughty Djinn, we would have lost, but, you know, Haughty Djinn is Haughty Djinn, and Haughty Djinn is broken. I hate Haughty Djinn more than I hate Shieldred. Because at least Shieldred's like a 5/5. It's not pretending to be not pretending to be a bigger creature than green. But Haughty Djinn is literally just a 1 OTK. Like a 1-hit kill a lot of the time. But you still get the ETB. Thank you, opponent, for not countering it. It gives me great pleasure. Our opponent might kill our Wrenn as soon as we play it. Ah, Jace, I see. Jace. What are you up to, Jace? Come on now. Let's not get rid of anything important here. We'll go ahead. Maybe play the Topiary Stomper because we get a land and a draw with our clue. We have 2 creatures here, so our opponent can't deal with them all, maybe? Though if we played Wrenn and Seven here, we would have had a big enough creature. No, I don't know. We should be fine. I think that was the right play. Now we can Titan of Industry. Nope. Oh, I forgot I was going to tick up. That's awkward. Okay, well. See what our opponent wants to do about us attacking in with the Topiary. Bonk, Chase. Get bonked. It has vigilance. Aha. Get wrecked.
I've learned much during my travels. Let me show you.
If they're playing the Wandering Emperor, it would have been a smart idea to tick down on our Topiary Stomper.
Let your blade
The Esper Planeswalkers are going to be a pain in the royal bum. Thankfully, we have our own Planeswalker that hopefully draws us 4 lands. It doesn't draw us any lands because we're trash. Next up, Cultivator Colossus. Yeah, we're gonna ultimate our Planeswalker. Are you feared? Us ultimating our Planeswalker is not as good as theirs. Yeah, that is what the Esper Planeswalkers do. Board wipe, board wipe, board wipe, board wipe.
to me.
And Planeswalkers. It's pretty simple combo and pretty broken. That's it, 4 lands? No, okay, fair enough. Okay, well, opponent, you have 1 removal spell you win against this Cultivator Colossus, but I get to draw and ramp like a absolute mother yucca. Nice. These are one of the few scenarios where the Dino would have been really nice to have in this deck. Because it has haste. Their opponent can't just sweep it away. They can beat in on their Planeswalkers before it becomes a problem. Now, if we tick down Wrenn and Seven, we get a massive creature. Yep, opponent, what are you gonna do? Yes, Milas. 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 Try. Honestly, though, we are kind of fucked. Ah, and we get countered because, well, when you play out all your lands, you have nothing in your deck, and you get milled. Well, you've seen the fall of a deck. We'll go ahead, hop into the deck tech. Keep this video short. This deck used to be good at one point, I guess. I don't know. You get the general idea. We have Azusa's many journeys. We play 30 lands, so we should be top decking into them so that this always has value. Topiary Stomper helps to find out lands, and if we're playing a ton of lands, the downside that it can't block if it has 7 more lands is okay. Sometimes it can also help us evade removal and get a Glorious Sunshine draw off of it. Boseiju reaches Skyward, really good with Cultivator Colossus because it can put lands into our hands. Also works well with Azusa's many journeys because, well, we're going to be wanting to play an additional land. And then Wrenn and Seven puts in a bunch of work. We saw it put in work in that last game, getting us lands to hand that we could combo off with Cultivator Colossus. We played out basically half of our lands, or more than half of our lands, onto the battlefield, which next turn would have led us to a pretty nice turn, or we probably just kill our opponent because we would have been able to trample over their single creature, but they probably would have not played double Jaces and milled us if that's what happened. Or like we probably wouldn't have been able to trample over if they did something besides play Jaces. So who knows? I think we covered those cards. Glorious Sunrise, big because it can give all our creatures +1/+1 and trample, because this turns into a giant creature, needs trample. It's nice to have it give it trample. Wrenn and Seven creates giant creatures, this gives it trample. It also allows us to ramp and play one of these cards next turn because it says target land gains +3 or tap for 3 green. So that can help us to play this turn 5 or 4 because we're probably going to move ramped, and then we can play this next turn. So yeah, this card is really good for that, and then we can draw life or gain life, and draw cards with the other cards. Nice. Wrenn and Seven puts lands into our hand, works well with Cultivator Colossus. Puts any lands from our hand onto the battlefield tapped. That works well with all of these cards again because we're building around Cultivator Colossus, so it's kind of a similar effect, just jamming a bunch of lands on the battlefield. Can help us ramp a bunch into like Titan of Industry and like a Topiary Stomper, or just maybe we pay into a Green Sun's Twilight. I don't know if Green Sun's Twilight is actually that good in this deck, but I think it could be useful. The thing is, once you get your Cultivator Colossus to pop off, this seems like a very good card to find yourself a Titan of Industry, right? So that's why I think this card's somewhat worth it, and it's basically another one of these cards. So if we have like 12 of these cards in our deck, that's pretty nice, no? So this works as like 4 additional copies of our big cards, while also still being usable in the early game if necessary. And we can potentially pay 6 and win the lottery, and hit one of these creatures. So that's something. Wrenn and Seven will never use its ultimate, but the down 3 loyalty works well because it creates something that's equal to the power of our lands, and we're trying to get a bunch of lands out. Titan of Industry, great. Removes artifacts and enchantments. We saw that sort of being relevant. Gain life, create 4/4, shield counter when it's relevant. Boseiju, also kind of nice if we need it, though often it's just played as land. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, consider subscribing. Let me know what you think has changed, maybe to make this deck worse. You would see the win rate at the end, or at the end of each game up here in the right hand side. And we had like a 60% win rate with this deck. Well, roughly a 60% win rate with this deck. Prior to the changes from, we usually had, what is it? Prize fight. Yeah, prize fight here instead of these Green Sun's Twilight, because then you can fight spell with the Topiary Stomper and help us ramp, while also potentially remove. You can also fight spell with Azusa's Many Journeys, so if they have something with 2 toughness, or if we get one of these big creatures and they're holding something back that we want to get rid of, it works well for that regard. But Green Sun's Twilight seems like a nicer thing to have in this deck because you want to be hitting your big things, and this can help you hit your big things, right? So I don't entirely know if it was the right change to make, but it feels like it probably was. Anyways, I will catch you guys all in the next video. Hope you have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, whenever and wherever you're watching. Ciao.